So I was wanting to sleep for a good 7 to 8 hours, but my body was telling me, and I even had a dream about it, like, Chibi, you need to read the chapter. You need to fucking read the chapter, Tokyo Ghoul. I'm not fucking joking. Like, I had a dream that I was working on the review, and then I woke up, and then the chapter's out. So, pardon me for looking a little bit tired. I'm running off for 3 hours of sleep, so let's dive into this chapter of Tokyo Ghoul Re. This is chapter 31.5. So, if I'm correct, this is just, kind of like a special side story chapter. Now, some would look at this chapter as if it's filler, but after the revelations of this chapter, especially towards the end, you can't really consider this chapter filler. Like, this actually is a very vital chapter to the series. Like, you cannot skip this chapter. That's actually how vital this chapter is to Tokyo Ghoul. So, just to throw that out the window, this is not a filler chapter. This actually is, let's just say, like, chapter 32. Like, this is a chapter that is important to the series. So, regardless of anything, I have to say this chapter, for the most part, a very different calm before the storm type of chapter compared to what we've been getting for the past 10 weeks or even longer than that. I mean, for the past long time, like for a couple months now, we've been getting chapters that are very dark, gruesome, finding out about Pineapple, eating his mother, stuff like that. And with this chapter, it's kind of a different take on that. It's like a happy chapter of Tokyo Ghoul, which scares the fuck out of me, because when Tokyo Ghoul has a happy chapter, you can expect some misery in the near future. Like, shit, it's gonna get fucking bad, because that's what's gonna happen. That's how Tokyo Ghoul is. It gets you in your comfort zone, where you're like, oh my god, this is so sweet, this is so cute, oh my god, look at these characters, they're interacting, and I mean, you're sitting there just being overjoyed because you're seeing this happy moment, and then all of a sudden, 5 chapters down the road, people are getting their heads cut off. So that's kind of how Tokyo Ghoul is, and so I'm worried about the way this was done, because this was a very sweet chapter, a very, very sweet chapter that showcased a lot of the main characters throughout the entire series of Tokyo Ghoul on the CCG side. We got to see Papa Arima in this chapter, and I mean, he had these rumors and conspiracies going around him as if he was like, I don't know. People are just looking at him as like, holy shit, this dude, he has so many mysteries. Like, when ghouls look at him, they faint and go to prison. Or, there's been times to where Arima falls asleep on the battlefield. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who does that? So, there's just some really random things. But it's really funny. It was really funny getting to see that, because it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, does Arima do that? Like, does he fall asleep on the battlefield? Like, is he just sitting there? He's like, does he just, pass out while he's in the middle of a fight or something? That'd be pretty fucked up if it is. But it will also show you how OP he is, because, we know he hasn't taken any damage from anyone besides Kaneki at the end of part 1. So, yeah, I mean, you gotta factor that in. So, the chapter, in a nutshell, okay, to be very straightforward, all of you, the chapter is, I guess, very simple. It's like a Christmas-themed chapter. That's what it is. But it's Tokyo Ghoul exquisite-themed chapter. Now, there is a lot of things going on here that's showcasing after the aftermath of what happened at the auction raid. For instance, this chapter takes 1 month later, like 1 month time skip past the previous arc we had in last week's chapter. And so 1 month has passed, and Christmas is around, and I don't know if it's just me, but if you noticed, Sasuke's the only person that wasn't eating. Like, he straight up, everybody was eating Christmas dinner and food and stuff, and poor Sasuke, he's just sitting there not eating anything at all. It would probably not be noticed by a lot of people that read this chapter, but yeah, Sasuke didn't eat anything in this. I mean, we already know he's Kaneki, which is very fucking obvious, so we know he can't eat. It's still the point, though. If you look at it, it's just that moment when everybody's sitting there eating Christmas dinner and having fun, and then Kaneki's making this food, but he can't eat it. It's very ironic. Now, the ending part of the chapter, however, is the real beef I do want to actually talk about. For one thing, there is a book that is sent to Sasuke, or it's actually entitled to Kaneki-kin. And on the book, it has Kin Kaneki, and it's signed from Eto, or Sin. And you have to wonder right now, so in the chapter, we know Uta, he's roaming around, and, he said that Kaneki is like his special customer. And so, instantly, when you read this chapter, you start keying the dots, you start thinking maybe Uta gave the stuff to Kaneki, because think about this. The mask pops up after that conversation that is Kaneki's, and the book also pops up right next to it. We do know the clowns and Ogiri Tree are working together, and so that would mean Uta is near Eto. And at first, when I was looking at this chapter, I thought it was Uta that might have snuck into the headquarters or home and delivered the mask in the book. But then I did my research from fellow Chibits on Facebook and Tumblr. I decided just to go online, see what everybody thinks of the chapter when I first got up. And from what I found out, there's already shit tons of theories. Holy shit. Okay, so this ain't my theory. I just want to mention it, and it actually has a lot of evidence to support it, so I'm not going to take any credit for this at all. I just want to mention it to bring it all to you. So, from what I found on Tumblr, is that Hide got a book from Eto. If we remember, it's chapter 109 of Tokyo Ghoul. Hide got a book signed, and it was signed to Kaneki Ken. And on Kaneki's book, when he got it signed from Eto, it was the book that was called Kaneki. Like, it just had Kaneki signed on it. So, there's two very distinct differences between the books. And so, I feel like, or I think, what the Tumblr person was trying to let us know is that there is a possibility Eto or Uta did not send those presents to Sasaki. It was actually Hide that sent those to Sasaki. It's a very good possibility. If it's not that, it's Eto. So, one of those two happened in this chapter that Sasaki currently has obtained. But let's dive into a little bit more deeper details. Now, I do want to talk about the cover page, the color cover page. That is a very deep color page I do need to talk about. And in the chapter, we also get to see Kaneki. Yeah, we actually get to see Kaneki. Now, remember, as I've already stated in my past reviews, Kaneki or Sasaki are two different people. Even though they're the same body, they're two different people. It's like split personalities, and that it's a real thing. And so, in the chapter, when Sasaki gets the mask from Kaneki, well, not from Kaneki, he gets the mask, that's Kaneki's, you see little Shiro Kaneki pop up in a panel. And he's reading a book. He's reading a fucking book. Like, if you look at the panel, as soon as you see Kaneki's mask in this chapter, you see, it appears to be some form of book shape that white-haired Kaneki is reading. And it goes to show you that they are separate. They are both separate and still there and very aware. See, Kaneki is very aware of what's going on, as you can see from that moment alone. And for that Kaneki to be reading a book, it has a lot of characteristics from the old Kaneki we know of, and maybe that Kaneki recognizes what's going on here, especially with the book signing to, you know, the mask. So I can't wait to find that out in the next week's chapter. And then getting into the color page of this chapter. The color page, however, at first glance, it looks just very fucking creepy. Like, dude, that is a creepy-ass color page sheet. Like, what the hell? That was creepy. That's straight up creepy. But there is some meaning to the color page. And after looking and staring at the color page for a long time yesterday on Twitter, like, I got sent it by a bunch of Chibits on Twitter. And I actually made a post saying, oh my god, that's fucking scary. Well, come to find out, if you look closely on the color page, if you look on the bottom right, where Shiro Kaneki, he's holding like some form of bird-shaped cage, you will see a bird cage on the bottom right. Like some form of bars of a bird cage. Interesting. So, Ishida's hinting at stuff in his color page, which this is not uncommon, because, I mean, look, he foreshadowed Almond coming back and turning into what he is early on in the series with, you know, the cover page he did. So, I mean, we just gotta remember that. Overall, though, the chapter of Tokyo Ghoul, very solid. Very fucking solid. Loved it. I loved the chapter. It was good. Slow, yes, but that's Tokyo Ghoul. That happens. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.